Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bold Analysis. This is the most informative political and policy show in this country. Today, I am so disappointed, and I have been making follow-up analysis on the death of lawyer William Ruto's former lawyer, Paul Gicheru. And I want to say that the death of the ICC, the lawyer who was facing charges at ICC, is something with a bigger picture, and it's bigger than what actually is being consumed. I don't think it's what really people are consuming. And I am so disappointed by narratives that have been framed against over that story, because for me there seems to be cosmetics and cover-ups and not facing the real thing. This is a man who was in ICC less than 8 months ago in February, and he came back. This is a man that has been in the international radar for more than 7 years. Arrest warrants were issued somewhere in 2015. We are in 2022. But upon such accidental death, I don't want to say accidental, but I want to say such a sudden demise, we are then trying to narrow down the conversation to family conflicts and personal behavior. I think that is it. I am talking about an interview by Paul Gicheru's mother, where Paul Gicheru's mother was allegedly painting a picture on on Gicheru's relationship with the wife, the family members, his childhood, and personal behavior, to the extent of talking about how he was consuming alcohol and all that. I wanted to listen to that a bit before I frame my feelings, frame my point on this.
Mimi nataka apelekwa apasuriwe waone ni nini. Kuona mtu anaanguka tu bure hivyo sio rahisi. Sio rahisi. Na kukua mgonjwa sio rahisi. Kuna kitu alipewa. Na ninajua atasema asipasuru. Ni sumu. Hata nilimpigia juzi. Nikamwambia kumbe ulichukua mtoto yangu Eldoret tu kauwe. Kwa maana nimeona wengi wameshikwa na raha. Ndio nasikia ripoti ya asubuhi, jirani huyu ni bibi gani hawezi kupiga simu aniambie mtoto ameenda. Kwaja hata nini huyu mtoto yake kijana wanawacha mtu anaaguka. Huyu kijana sijui anaitwa Joroge. Sijui aliona baba ameanguka naye akaaguka. Mama hakuna, ametoroka, anajua kenye amefanya kitu. Mimi nimeokoka na nilisaliwa peke yangu na nitarudi peke yangu. Kwa hivyo wacha afanye kenye aliona ule kabisa. Unajua tukikuja kutoa yake rejection, buka yake aliniambia atuyo msichana alikuwa anatokea kwa dirisha. Akaniambia kijana yako ameoa mweto. Nikamwambia mimi siwezi ingilia. Mahali walijuana mimi sikujua. Hii watoto niliwalelea Nandi. Mahali inaitwa Seria. Huyo mtoto hakukuwa na neno. Kwanza tulikuwa na watu wakarimu sana. Sikukuwa nikinunua maziwa. Mimi ni mtu ya kanisa. Kila kitu wananisaidia. Si unasikia baba alienda huko. Ndio alipeleka hiyo sumu. Wana ng'ombe ya Paulo 200. Ndugu yake ndio anakalia. Wakatoa nini? walitoa ndugu ya Paulo, yeye ndio alijenga hapa. Unajua alikuwa na kazi nyingi, siku ile alishida hiki ndio alijenga hii plot. Hata na ingine amemwaga mawe, alitaka kuja jenga ghorofa. Si unaona shetani vile anafanya. Unaona sasa. Mimi nakwambia hii mabibi mnaoa, angalianga boma kwanza. Ujue huyu anatoka boma gani, ni wa ukoo gani, ndio ukae naye. Kwa maana guka yake aliniambia ameoa mwoto. Bibi yake anampeanga tembo. Na kuna siku mwezi ile iliisha, mimi sikosi kupiga Jumapili, nauliza mko aje, mnakaaje? Nikasikia hata kuongea okay. Amelewa chakari.
Now, first I want to say this. One of my disappointments is even the editor who in the Daily Diary decided that a reporter was going to interview the mother, that interview was misguided. This is a person who is hurting. This is a person who is at pains. And even if you look at the body language, she is at pains. And even emotionally, she is drained. So she can say anything. To the extent of making stereotyping. And I'm not blaming the woman. I'm actually blaming the people that are doing this and making this public, because this is not what we are dealing with. If you ask me, we know that ICC witnesses have been going through this. And this is more than what meets the eye. This is beyond amplifying family conflicts, personal behaviors like, oh, this person used to do this. It's like they already want to. My disappointment is such coverage makes this story, make Paul Gicheru, rather the late, become the victim. You cannot be the victim in your own head, honestly. That someone influenced, alcohol, marriage, those things happen. No. That's not it. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video. By the way, what's your take? What's your take on this issue? I am not trying to dispute the fact that someone who is a close family member can be used to a better crime, an accessory to crime. I'm not refusing that. But at least now, that is not the focus. On whether someone aided death or not, for me, that's not it. And I want to explain for you guys why the issue of this Paul Gicheru Death is nothing, is bigger than what meets the eye. What makes the few observations that I've made, and I'll try to be very objective here. Despite this matter of public interest, there is no public outrage of the tragic news. People are not talking about this. In fact, I have been looking at the way the coverage is being done. People went and interviewed the mother somewhere. There seems to be that profiling of people around Paul Gicheru, file what the mother is saying. Someone should then go and also get the wife. And I'm even wondering, do someone really know that at this time, this is a man who also had family? So, when you raise one family member who is close to them saying that, which kind of environment are you even creating for the others? Already there is a bad blood building. And so someone would have just let go. Wait. Because what the mother says, can also be used against her. Or it can create the narrative. Now, that lack of public outrage, remember, this is a matter that really had the national interest. People were glued in the TV in February following up his proceedings at the KICC, at the ICC. And people know the story behind all this. So this is a matter that for me, it's nothing like, it should not be reduced to family conflicts. Number two, another observation that I've made, there is close-framed theories over the cause of death. Close friend, what I mean is, already there is a theory. When the news broke that he took late lunch, then went to bed. Then later on, they realized there was a problem. So it was emitting foam from the mouth and all that. The media came up with a narrative that, not a narrative, but just a feeling that maybe it was poison. And it is that report that came that I even understand maybe the mother came. Listen, if you listen to the way he's talking, that's what the mother bought. Now, when they said they were going to give a press briefing the following day, even though that press briefing has not been done public, and if you realize that no one is talking on behalf of the family publicly, especially not except the brother, except the lawyer, Joji Hamino. This is a person that has family at this moment, because these are the public interest. We'll see even the other family members, the brothers, the sisters, and families coming and taking this matter at hand. So the first framed theory was on that food poisoning, but I listened also to the lawyer George Aminwa, also saying that they're going to do post-mortem to find out whether it was a natural death or maybe toxicological. So already they are creating a narrative that it can be a natural death, it can be toxicological. You've really given people options. And as a consumer of media, I really take keen interest on what the media tells the people. You've already been given people options. So that's the closed frame theory, where you already closed people's minds, like, look here, this can be toxicological or natural. So how about if someone comes and says natural? Because I've already created that ground. That tells you, that's one thing that really made me make that observation. I think at this moment, if the family spokesman or lawyer was talking, he would just say, let's do the post-mortem and find out what killed. From there, we shall get to the question of who was involved. The question of poisoning, if it is poisoning, we'll get to the next level of who was involved. But at this now, we should not close, because from this, you're giving loopholes for someone to come up with the story and say, okay, this is it, and Kenyans buy it. Now, I took interest on this. The coverage of the death of Paul Gicheru was by both local and international media, was skewed, and it left out the bigger picture. When you look at his profile, of ICC profile, I wanted to look at this. I just Googled, go and Google Paul Gicheru Death. I took this screenshot. This is screenshot of New York Times, Voice of Africa, and Washington Post. If you look at those titles, one, Paul Gicheru, Kenyan lawyer on trial at ICC, is found dead. The other one, Kenyan lawyer charged with bribing witnesses in Dash, dead. Kenyan lawyer in ICC case linked to new president, found dead. Now, it is Washington Post only that came out and did for me a full profile of Paul Gicheru. That Kenyan lawyer in ICC case linked to new president, found dead. Linked to new president. That's it. That is in public domain. That the case that was facing in ICC was witnessing or influencing witnesses that were testifying on the case of William Ruto and Joshua Sang. I am not the one saying it. It's in public domain. So the profile of Paul Gicheru is being skewed. Now I took this another one. This is another profile by this now the local media. There is Standard, The Star, then Capital News and Africa News. Raila asks Interpol to investigate Paul Gicheru's death. That is it. Interpol should probe lawyer Paul Gicheru's death to avoid cover-up. Raila. ICC witness Paul Gicheru is dead. Kenyan lawyer and ICC. Yes. I think Africa News is now also giving another one now. Kenyan lawyer and ICC case linked to President Ruto found dead. Police. That's it. So if you look at look at the Kenyan coverage, you will realize that the profile of that Paul Gicheru is not complete. It's profiled to the end of just being an ICC lawyer. Honestly, he was not an ICC lawyer. That's it. I don't think he was working at ICC. He's a Kenyan lawyer who was representing, who was charged in the ICC for influencing. And the fact that he's a lawyer, his profile of being a lawyer does not add relevance to the story. Actually, if someone wants to make a link to ICC, then someone should link it clearly that he was facing charges of influencing witnesses in the case against the then Deputy President William Ruto and Joshua Sang. So we are not completing that story. Why? That's why I insist the picture is bigger. And let's meet the attention and follow up on this. Look at it. They only covered, and honestly, this tells you it can't be the whole. This is a matter of national interest. They have only been talking about what Raila said, what Nani said, what Nani said. Tomorrow we'll be talking about what so and so said. Then wait for the barrel, and that should not be it. We are treating this, and that is why I insist that reducing this emotive issue to local family issues, and I don't want to defend the wife here, but mother-in-law, and it's normal, that relationship, that illicit relationship between the two emerging it's normal in African setup. We've been in this country. We are African, Africa is us. Or rather we are Kenyan. And these are things that happen. So, and someone dies and you go and ask the mother, and someone has said, okay, this is it. Most probably, the stories will start now being gobbled here and there, name calling and profiling. So I think we should not profile the individuals and people around the deceased, but then profile the deceased fully. So that when you profile, and the reason why that story and that death is lacking the national, is not getting the national attention is because the profile is not complete. The profile ends at as a Kenyan lawyer at ICC, Kenyan lawyer at ICC. It's less. When we make that sense and complete, it becomes a motive. People get to understand. You don't clear the lines, join the dotted lines, and then you can get people attention on that. That's my bold. I don't know what you think. For me, I don't buy the concept of going after the mother. No.